The Switch 2 is less than a month away and I am super excited to play Mario Kart World, but here are 12 non-Nintendo games I'm excited for. Let's get after it. To make this more interesting, I'm not going to count games that are basically just ports, or that are already available, or that I just own already. I'm sorry, Final Fantasy VII. I still love you. RAIDOU Remastered grabbed my attention when I realized it was part of the Shin Megami Tensei / Persona franchise. Originally released on the PS2 way back in 2006, the game follows Raidou, an assistant detective who is actually a devil summoner that both commands and battles demons to protect people of the capital city. When a mystery involving a kidnapping happens, Raidou must battle demons, superhumans, and evil spirits that stand between him and solving the mystery. As a devil summoner, you can utilize demons inside and outside of battle to do things like read minds, freeze water to walk across, and stoke the emotional flames of someone's heart. Right then. Battles are a little different in Raidou to other Shin Megami Tensei games, as they're more active combat focused rather than turn-based. Utilizing a sword and a gun to combat demons, when it gets a bit too tough, Raidou is able to summon up to 2 ally demons to join him and combating those pesky forces of evil. I've recently started to play ATLUS games and I want to play much more of their very extensive library, particularly the Shin Megami Tensei series and its many spin-off series. So RAIDOU Remastered definitely appeals to me. At 11. Mousework is a smaller game that completely utilizes the Switch 2's Joy-Con mouse controls by playing across a bunch of minigames that revolve around the theme of jobs. Mouse controls, jobs, mousework, you get it. Some of these jobs include stacking crates, bouncing balls without letting them touch the ground, helping people climb, cleaning windows, and even defending Earth from asteroids in a little spaceship. If you couldn't tell by the weird and random nature of the minigames, it has a very WarioWare feel. So if that's your sort of thing, definitely consider picking this one up. I'm always a bit of a sucker for these early games that utilize a Nintendo console's unique functionality. I can't believe we're not getting a new Snipper Clips. Kicking off the top 10, Marvel Cosmic Invasion is the next retro-style beat-em-up coming our way, and you can play as up to 15 characters, including Spider-Man, Wolverine, Nova, Captain America, Storm, and Venom. It looks an absolute blast. This'll definitely be one to play with the kids. You have to take these characters across the cosmos to fight the deadly annihilation wave after an unprecedented attack is launched across the galaxy. So all very comic booky and dramatic then. This game looks great visually and the selection of 15 characters is what really appeals here. I really enjoyed Power Rangers Rita's Rewind last year, but my biggest gripe with these retro beat-em-ups is every character tends to play the same, but not so here. With each Marvel character's powers on display, it looks like you'll be able to dispatch the waves of enemies in unique ways and to choose a character that fits your playstyle. The new wave of pixel art beat-em-ups has been a very welcome revival of the genre, and combining that with Marvel Comics characters seems like a winning formula. Now, if only DC would start putting out more games. Number 9. Inazuma 11 Victory Road, originally announced under a different title way back in 2016. Yes, the road may be victorious, but it has been long. It has faced a bunch of delays and has had many release dates, but now, finally, hopefully, it will release August this year. This game looks like a lot of fun, and if you're a big fan of football, anime, and RPGs, then boy, is this the game for you. Featuring a story mode where you're able to climb the ranks with a new character and take on teams in the street to the stadiums, all the while building your team up, and we even get a quick peek at what appears to be a skill tree. Very RPG indeed. With Rematch looking to be incredibly competitive and fast-paced, like an on-foot Rocket League, Inazuma 11 could be the calmer, more laid-back approach for single-player lovers like myself. I've not played any of the earlier Inazuma 11 games, but they've always looked great. Maybe I'll make a video series playing them all for YouTube. At 8! Professor Layton and the New World of Steam, sticking with level 5 for yet another entry in a series I haven't played yet. Another video series? The new entry in the series looks absolutely gorgeous. The character and environment art is lively, vivid, and incredibly eccentric. I honestly couldn't love it more if I tried. This entry follows Professor Layton and his sidekick Luke as they explore the mystery of the ghostly gunman in the steampunk American city of Steam Bison. It seems to play much like a point-and-click adventure and will of course feature the series' renowned puzzles. But there's not much more really known, and without a firm release in 2025 scheduled, I I wouldn't be too surprised if this slipped to 2026. Or if Level 5's record and other projects are anything to go by, maybe even further than that. 7. Project 007. IO Interactive have taken on the role of creating a new James Bond game, and although I've not played any of the Hitman series, yet another series I've not played, I'm quietly confident that IO can deliver on this. But beyond that, I'm not really sure what else to say, as not much has been shared. However, I find myself thinking about the rather impressive Indiana Jones and the Great Circle whenever I think of this project. And I think a James Bond title in a similar vein to that would work incredibly well. It managed to balance explorative and combative gameplay in a story that was interesting enough without overstaying its welcome. Perfect then for James Bond, where the focus should absolutely be on the action and gadgets, with room for slower, more stealth-like sections with a few spins on a roulette wheel and a martini. Halfway with number 6, Deltarune. And like everybody that played Undertale, I thought it was incredible. So I'm not really sure why I keep forgetting that Deltarune exists. But with the announcement that the already released chapters 1 and 2 will be bundled with the unreleased chapters 3 and 4 arriving together on Switch 2, it seems like the perfect time to get involved with this game. Deltarune follows the party's adventure to seal the dark fountains that are prophesized to end the world, with a combat system similar to Undertale where enemy encounters can be resolved peacefully or through a video game-sized dose of violence. Undertale more than did enough for me to play anything that Toby Fox releases, and with 4 chapters to sink my teeth into, now seems like the perfect time to jump on board. I only hope the promised 7 total chapters don't take too long to come out. 5. The Dustbloods. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of From Software games, but every time they announce a new one, I can't help but be intrigued and pulled in by the ethereal dark fantasy art style, the hype, and hope that this will be the one that grabs me. Surprisingly, The Dustbloods is a PvPvE type game, making it another multiplayer title From Software are making, which hasn't gone down all that well with the community, triggering a response from the man himself, Miyazaki. And Miyazaki says that despite recent release announcements, the company has not shifted to a more multiplayer focus. In this game, you play as a Bloodsworn as you're thrust into a violent contest known as the Night of the Hunt, in hopes that you will be the warrior that claims the ultimate prize, the First Blood. Its crumbling gothic horror and steampunk world are gorgeous and inviting, and the promise of unique gameplay and design experiences that can only happen due to its PvPvE focus is hitting all the right notes for me. To see a big and darling studio like From Software put out an exclusive title on Nintendo Switch 2 is a great sign that developers have faith in the console. But to make it an online multiplayer experience gives me hope that improvements are coming to Nintendo's rather lackluster online offerings. Whilst Nintendo haven't directly announced anything and they seem to be forging ahead with their current eShop, just with a new lick of paint, I'm still quietly hopeful that behind the scenes they're fixing things up so games like the Dustbloods can shine on the new console. So even though I may not be the first in line for a From Software game, I can't deny their mass appeal and success. And I'm not a hater, I want to get it, I want to enjoy these games, and maybe the Dustbloods is the one to do that. It's for... Reanimal is made by the team behind Little Nightmares 1 and 2, and it appears to be a very similar type of game, which is a survival horror game with a heavy focus on platforming, stealth, and a spine-chilling atmosphere. Reanimal follows a brother and sister as they journey to save 3 friends and escape a nightmare version of their home by solving environment-based puzzles and exploring in a non-linear way as a departure from the Little Nightmare games. But fans of Little Nightmares needn't worry, as Supermassive Games have taken the reins on that franchise with a 3rd entry. But if you were wanting something more terrifying than Little Nightmares, then Reanimal is promising to be just that. The team have cited It Takes Two, Zelda the Wind Waker, and Silent Hill 2 as inspirations for Reanimal, and if it manages to be even half as good as its inspirations, then this is definitely a game to be looking out for. 3. Yooka-Laylee is a remake of Yooka-Laylee that was originally billed as a sort of spiritual successor to my beloved Banjo-Kazooie, but it didn't quite deliver on that promise the first time round. And with absolutely no sign of Banjo-Kazooie returning, I once again find myself pinning my hopes on Yooka-Laylee, and with the many improvements that Playtonic are making, maybe the second time's the charm. Speaking of improvements, it's not just the graphics that have been shined up, and they really have. The duo have certainly never looked better, and the art style shines with the new layer of polish. But the gameplay itself has had a complete overhaul. With the much maligned camera getting completely reworked, you're now able to more quickly chain moves together to create a more flow-like style of play, as well as new collectibles in the form of quids and pagey pieces, and brand new platforming challenges and content. Back with the original release, I wanted this to be an evolution of this style of platform game, and instead it felt like it was straight from the 90s with a mid-2010s coat of paint. And some people really liked that, but I wanted it to be a sort of, this is what Banjo-Kazooie would be now, and it missed the mark with that. But with Replayly getting all the bells, whistles, modern features, and improvements that could possibly be thrown at it, that hope of a modern evolution of the genre could just be on the horizon. Number 2. Hades 2 takes the number 2 spot. The original game was an incredible example of what a roguelike game can do and be. With a gorgeous art style, a great cast of characters, an awesome soundtrack, and most importantly, slick and exciting gameplay, I'm more than ready to go for round 2 with the sequel. But this time we're playing as Zagreus' sister, Melinoi, as she aims to take down the Titan of Time, Kronos, with the help of other Olympian gods. Hades 2 has been in early access for a little over a year now, but I'm not really a fan of the early access thing. I prefer to wait for a full release. And with the announcement that Hades 2 is coming to Switch 2 as a console launch exclusive, this should signal its transition into a full release. And it's the perfect sort of game to play handheld on Switch 2. And the gold medal, the number 1 spot, goes to Bravely Default Flying Fairy Remastered. It's my number 1 pick as I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, and this is a sort of spiritual successor to more traditional Final Fantasy games. And the original 3DS version has been in my backlog for so long that I thought I'd never get to actually play it. But the remaster seems the perfect opportunity to finally get this game played. However, I've been reluctant to dive into research on this game for this video, as I really don't want to spoil it for myself. But if you like classic turn-based RPGs, then this is probably going to be for you. And it comes in incredibly cheap too. At just £34, even if you have a passing interest in the genre, it has to be a must-play for the price alone. And you can expect a full review of Bravely Default Flying Fairy Remastered on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss that. And that's that, but if there were any games you would have put on the list, then let me know in the comments, and don't forget to smash that thumbs up and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.